Mathematics is the foundation of life. Without it, I am worth nothing. Lesson number 17, video number 17. The question of the day was how to divide and simplify exponents. Let's do a quick review before we do lesson 18, video 18. Let's look at question number 1. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we have 7. Then we said in the denominator, I'm going to put a 1 over x. Then I subtract the lower degree from the higher degree. X cubed minus 1. And the answer is 7x raised to the power 2. This is the law of negative exponents. Let's do number 12. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 49 divided by 7 is 7. So we have 1/7. Now, I'm going to put in the denominator, put 1 over the x and 1 over the y. So we have 4 minus 1 is 3. This is x cubed. And 2 minus 1 is 2. So it would be 1. So this is times y only. Okay? Let's look at number 13. 7 times 6 is 42. 42 divided by 14 is 3. So we have 3. Then we have 3, x raised to the power 3, x raised to the power 8. We add them together. This is x to the 11th. And then in the denominator, we have 5 would be minus 5. This is how we divide and simplify exponents. So this is 3x to the 6th. Do you remember the law of negative exponents? X raised to the power negative a must equal to 1 over x plus a. We take the inverse of x raised to the power negative a becomes plus a. Now, why do we have to do this? Because in mathematics, we never have negative exponents. We always convert it to positive exponent. That is a must. We also talked about the law of zero exponent, which was x raised to the power 0 is equal to 1. Any expression raised to the power 0 is 1. For example, 17. If I put the entire expression raised to the power 0, the result is going to be 1. We also talked about the law of exponent products, which are called the law of exponent products plus addition and subtraction of exponent. It means x raised to the power a times x raised to the power b. We add a and b together, x, a plus b. And this is the law of exponent products, again, to associate it with addition or subtraction of exponents. Now, let's do lesson number 18, video number 18. Video number 18, the question of the day is polynomial's greatest common factor. Let's look at example 1. Is there a common factor between 8 and 10, x squared and x? Yes, there is, 2. So I can factor out the 2. And notice this degree, there is a 1 here, 10x raised to the power 1, the 1 we never write. So my lowest degree here is 1, so I can factor out an x. You always factor out the lowest degree. So my factor is 2x. Now if I divide everything by 2x, what do I get? I get 8 divided by 2 is 4. Then I have a 1 over x in the denominator. 2 minus 1 is x. and then 10 divided by 2 is 5. X divided by x is 1. We don't write it because that goes to 1. So this is the answer. See if you can do question number 2. When you work with me, please have pen, paper, calculator available to you and work with me. If you make a mistake, we can correct it here together without any further confusion for the future. So number 2, the greatest common factor is 4. I can divide everything by 4. Since I'm dividing by 4, 4 becomes my factor. So I can pull out the 4, and then I have 12y divided by 4 is 3y. Then I have negative 16 divided by 4 is a negative 4. That is the way we factor question number 2. Question number 3. Take a moment and think about it, please. We have greatest common factor of 5. I can divide everything by 5. And look at this. My lower degree is D3. So I can make D3 one of my factors. So I can also divide everything by D cubed. Okay? So what is my factor? My factor is 5 times D cubed, because D cubed is my lower degree. So now 15 divided by 5 is a negative 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. That would be D squared. And 45 divided by 5 is 9 plus 9. And then D cubed divided by D cubed is 1. So this is the correct factoring for this question. What about question number 4? Think about it for a minute, please. 13 is a prime number, so there is no factor between 13 and 20. So this is P. And there is no common factor for A and B. So this expression is unfactorable, remains as is. What about question number 5? I will give you a minute to think about it, please. If I put a 1 over C, then my greatest common factor would be C raised to the power 1. So I divide everything by C raised to the power 1. So C raised to the power 1 becomes my factor, right? So I have a 1 here. Now, 1, 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. That would be C squared. And 2 minus 1 is 1. That would be C. See the way I'm doing it? Straightforward. Subtract the lower degree from the higher degree. And C raised to the power 1 divided by C raised to the power 1 is 1. Right? When a number divided by itself, the result is 1. Look at number 16. I will give you a minute to think about number 16. That is tricky. See what you can do with it, please. You should be working on number 6. The only factor here is 6, right? I can factor at the 6. If I factor at the 6, the remainder of the expression would be n squared. Negative 30 divided by 6 is a negative 5n. And 42 divided by 6 is 7. Now, if you do it like this, 6 n times n minus 5 plus 42, this is totally incorrect. You cannot do this. We're going to factor like this. This is the correct answer to question number 6. N squared minus 5n plus 7 is the greatest common factor of it is 6 only. The expression in the bottom is totally wrong. Number 7, we are going to omit because that's the AC method. Listen in the future. What about number 8? How would you do number 8? I will give you a minute to think about it, please. If I put a 1 over p, everything is divisible by 9. So I can divide everything by 9p raised to the power 1. Okay, so what do we have here? We're going to factor and pull out the 9p raised to the power 1. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. That's p squared. Negative 63 divided by 9 is 7. Is a negative 7. 2 minus 1 is 1. That's the p. And 9p divided by 9p is a negative 1 because we have a negative sign here. So that is the correct factoring for this. What about question number 9? How would you do question number 9? The greatest common factor is 2. So I can pull out the 2. Then 18 divided by 2 is 9x squared. And negative 50 divided by 2 is a negative 25y squared. Now, if they want us to factor completely, this is a differences of a square. Lesson 13, video number 13. So what do we need to do? We need to convert everything to a square. 3 times 3 is 9. That would be 3 squared. X squared. And then we have 5 times 5 is 25. That is 5 squared. Y squared. And then what do we have as a final answer? 2 times 3x minus 5 times 3x plus 5. That is our final answer here. If they ask us to factor completely, this is the answer. If they want us to find the greatest common factor, is only 2. What about question number 10? How would you do 10? The lowest degree is 5. So I have to divide everything by z to the 5th. So this is z to the 5th because that's my lowest degree. Then everything 150 and 75, they are divisible by 25. So I can also divide everything by 25. So I can pull out a 25 z to the 5th. Right? Now I can do my operation. 100 divided by 25 is 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. So that would be z to the 4th. See, I am doing it straightforward and I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing. When you do mathematics and science or any subjects, you must take your time. Otherwise, it will lead to a huge confusion and waste of your time. So 50 divided by 25 is 2 plus 2. Z to the 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. That's going to leave us with the z. Okay, negative 75 divided by 25 is a negative 3. And z to the 5th divided by z to the 5th goes to 1. What about question number 11? Very interesting. I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. Okay. 108 divisible by 36? Yes. The answer is 3. So I can divide everything by 36. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm going to put a 1 over r because there is no exponent. I put a 1 and that becomes my lowest degree in r. And s, I have a s2 and a s3. So s2 becomes my lowest degree. So I have to factor what? I have to factor out the 36. I also have to factor out the r. I also have to factor out the s squared. So that means I have to divide everything by 36r s raised to the power 2. Now what do we have here? R divided by R gonna go out, s squared divided by s squared gonna go to 1, 36 divided by 36 is 1. So the first one is 1, the next one is, we said 108 divided by 36 is 3, then we have R to the second, we have a 1 here, right? Now notice there's a 1 here. 2 minus 1 is 1, that would be R, the remainder, x cubed, 3 minus 2 would be 1, that would be S. That is how you do question number 11. What about question number 14 and 12? Let's do question number 12. Question number 12, everything is divisible by 6. That's the only factor that I can have. 6, 36 divided by 6 is 6 times k. And negative 30 divided by 6 is a negative 5. That is the final answer for question number 12. What about question number 13? How would you do number 13? Notice a to the 7th, a to the 10th. So I can divide everything by a to the 7th only because a to the 7th is the only common factor and is the lower degree than 10. So I can factor out the a to the 7th, right? Then what I have inside, a to the 7th divided by a to the 7th goes to 1. I only have b. 1 times b is b minus a. 10 minus 7 is 3a cubed. So this is as far as we can factor this expression. What about question number 14? At the present time, the only factoring that we can have right now as we speak, because we are dealing with the greatest common factor, not factoring completely. Right now, we're going to stick with the lesson, just find the greatest common factor among them. Look at this. We have c to the 5th, d to the 4th, no, c to the 4th, c cubed. So my lowest degree is c cubed. See, this is my lowest degree, c cubed. So I have to divide everything by c cubed. Since I'm dividing by c cubed, I have to pull out the c cubed. Right? So what do we have here? 2 divided by 1, because there's a 1 here, is a 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. C to the 2nd. Then d to the 4th stays as is. I cannot do anything with that. Then we have a negative 3. Right? 4 minus 3 is 1 times c. And then we have a plus 4. C cubed divided by c cubed is 1. So that is the answer for question number 14 on the lesson on hand today. Don't forget that. Question number 15. How would you do with 15? 15, look at the degrees. G to the 8th, G to the 7th. So G to the 7th is my factor. So I can divide everything by G to the 7th, the lower one, right? And then everything is divisible by 3, so I can divide by 3. So I can pull out 3G to the 7. Good question. And now what do we have? 3 divided by 3 is 1. 8 minus 1 is 8 minus 7 is 1. This is g. And 3g to the 7th divided by 3g to the 7th goes to 1 plus 1. So that is the answer for number 15. What about number 16? Think about number 16 for a minute, please. What do we have here? We have x to the 5th, to the 4th, to the 3rd. Now I have x raised to the power 1. Put a 1. So x is my lowest factor. So I can pull out the x. And then everything here is divisible by 2. So I can divide everything by 2x. So since I'm dividing by 2x, 2x becomes my factor. I can pull it out. 18 divided by 2 is 9. There is a 1 here. 5 minus 1 is 4. That's x to the 4th. Negative 48 divided by 2 is a negative 24. X to the 4th minus 1 is x cubed. See the way I'm doing it? If you are dividing, you are subtracting exponents. Then we have 56, which is 28, plus 28. X cubed minus 1 is x to the 2nd. And then we have negative 84, which is 43. 84 divided by 2 is 43, minus 43. X divided by x is x. So this is the final answer right here on this lesson as we speak. Number 17. How would you do number 17? 23 is a prime factor, so there is nothing we can do with any of the numbers. All we need to do is find the factor of y. Look at this. Again, put a 1 over y that doesn't have an exponent. That becomes your factor. You are dividing everything by y raised to the power 1. So what do we have here? We're going to factor out the y, right? Now, 10 minus 1 is 9. This is y to the 9th. Okay, we got that's 23. There has to be a 23 here. See, I almost made a mistake. It is impossible to teach a lesson without making a minor mistakes. So let's do this over again. So what do we have here? We have y, right? We have y times 23, y to the 9th, because we are subtracting 1, minus 46, y to the 6th, 7 minus 1 is 6, plus 68, y, 2 minus 1 is 1, plus 10. Y divided by y is 1. So this is the answer for question number 17. Again, I almost made a mistake here because I was moving too fast. Take your time when you're doing these expressions. Let's summarize our lesson. For the summary of the day, we're going to do 6 more questions. Let's do number 7. See what you can do with number 7. Number 7, d to the 5th is my smaller degree. So I have to divide everything by d to the 5th, and 2 is my common factor. So I can divide everything by 2d to the 5th. Okay? So what do we have here? We have 2d. We're going to pull that out. Right? 10 divided by 2 is 5. 7 minus 2 is 5. D to the 5th. And then this becomes plus 1. Okay, because 2d to the 5th divided by 2d to the 5th goes to 1. What about number 8? Number 8, look at the degree 2. So I have to divide everything by w raised to the power 2. And then both 35 is divisible by 7, so I can also factor everything by 7. So it would be 7, W2, that would be my factors. That would be 7 divided by 7 is 1, 5 minus 2 is 3, W3. See the way I'm doing it? It's straightforward. Negative 35 divided by 7 is 5. W2 divided by W2 is 1. So that is the answer for question number 8. What about question number 9? It's straightforward. We can only factor out the 2. So we can only factor out the 2. That would be x plus y. Okay. What about question number 10? 32 and 24. The greatest common factor between them is 8, and there is 1 here, y. So I can factor out the, you can also factor out the negative if you want. So we can factor out the negative 8 raised to the power y raised to the power 1. So that would be negative would be 4y, right, minus 3. We're going to put a plus because we pulled out a negative sign. That would be a 3. What about number 11? We have 6, 2, and 4. So I can divide everything by 2, right? Now take a look at this. X raised to the power 2, x raised to the power 1, and I have a x raised to the power 1 here. I have y raised to the power 1, y raised to the power 2, and I have a y here, and I have z raised to the power 1, z raised to the power 1, z raised to the power 1. So what can I do here? I can divide everything by 2, and then my factor would be x, y, and z. Okay, so we have 2x times y times z. Now let's do our operation. 6 divided by 2 is 3, right? There is a 1 here. 2 minus 1 is x. Y divided by y is 1. Z divided by z is 1. So what is the next one? 2 divided by 2 is 1. X divided by x is 1. Z, y squared minus 1 would be a y. So that's going to give me a y because 2 minus 1 is a y. And z divided by z is 1. What about the next one? Negative 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. X divided by x is 1. Y divided by 1 is y. 1. Z divided by z is 1. So the entire expression goes to negative 2. So this is the answer for this. Number 12 is very tricky. Look at a. A to the fourth, a to the cubed, a to the second, a to the 1. So you can automatically factor out an a. And then the divisibility between them is 4. So you can factor out the 4a right automatically. That's 4a. Now let's look at b cubed. We have a b cubed, b, no b in the third term, and b. So we cannot factor out the b. What about c? We have a c, c, c. We cannot factor out the c. So the only factor we have is 4a. 12 divided by 4 is 3. A to the fourth, there is a 1 here. A to the fourth minus 1 is a cubed. We have to keep b cubed as it is because there is no factor of b cubed. And we have to keep c squared as it is. There is no factor for that. Now, negative 4 divided by 4 is a negative 1. A cubed, 3 minus 1 is 2. That would be a raised to the power 2. We have to keep the b. and we have to keep the c squared because we don't have any factors in any of it. What about 8? 8 divided by 4 is 2. Then we have a 2 minus 1 is a, right? 2 minus 1 is a times c. And then we have negative 16 divided by 4 is a 4. We factor out the a divided by a is 1, 4b. And this is the answer for this question here. Please, all of my videos are available to you for free. Keep reviewing them and take advantage of the opportunity. I am very sincere in helping you to advance your career and your occupation to a better quality of life at no cost to you. Thank you for being with me today. Have a great day. See you in the next video.